The gaming industry has changed a lot over the past few years, like a lot, to the point where the gaming industry is now the biggest in the entertainment industry, bigger than both movies and music combined, which is monumental for gaming. But with this, company saw this as an opportunity for a quick cash grab, which resulted into games that gamers dreaded most: unfinished games. Games that have no time, no effort, and buggy messes that somehow get released. Now, I have already discussed this in the first unfinished games video, so if you haven't yet, you can watch it. So if you don't see any games that you might expect me to cover in this video, they probably might be in the first one. So anyways, like every Hollywood producer from Disney, I decided to make a sequel to the video, or maybe make this a series. I don't know, you guys decide. But today we're gonna be looking at 3 more unfinished games that can be labeled as buggy messes and experiences squandered by the mindset to get this game released on time. So let's boot up our night goggles and delve back into the world of unfinished games into this mediocre video. First up, we have Marvel's Avengers, which is one of those games that I thought of and was bummed out that it wasn't a good game. Because this game had a lot of potential, especially since how much you can do with the Avengers in general as an IP, and how you can direct a game for it in so many different ways. But Square Enix decided to direct it in the worst way possible, to make it a live service game. We all know how those pan out, have we? Now, making a live service game is fine, but Marvel's Avengers simply just does not fit it. The whole game looks like a live service money hungry casino, and it revolves as you grinding out side missions and labs to get better gear for your character, like Destiny 2. But the rewards at the end aren't that good or rewarding as Destiny 2. Its gear gives you a couple of perks and maybe more damage, more movement, but it's not really rewarding enough for the amount of hours you put in. Unlike other games where they give you a new weapon or new armor, but in this game, they just give you like small little boosts to your character, which only relates to one character, by the way, because with a tedious cycle of play, level up, and repeat, you have to do that for every character, which would take God knows how long. And also customization, which would be good for this game because it's literally the Avengers, but it's literally monetized. You have to buy every skin, emote, or any customization item with real money. That is insane. And yeah, you can gain credits by playing the game, but wasting hours of your life for one skin is not worth it. And part with that, it's also not worth it to buy any of it. Like any of it. The emotes range from like everyday hand gestures to your regular Fortnite emotes we see in the item shop. And the skins add just a hat or a suit or color change and sell it for $10. Then they recycle the same thing with very minimal differences. And even like the mediocre ones, like the ones that aren't that bad, still look like they suck. Like holy crap. And the monetization was pretty bad, but you really haven't seen anything yet. When this game released, it was plagued with so many technical problems. It was insane. Games crashing, characters looking like Play-Doh, and janky frame rates that make you feel like you're playing on your grandma's iMac. The technical problems were really bad. One of the bugs couldn't even let you load the game, and the only fix was deleting your campaign progress, which is absolutely absurd. The bugs and glitches were not only in some facts funny or embarrassing, they were game breaking, making the games also unplayable for a lot of people. And when you did get into the game, it was not worth it. The story in the campaign was the most cookie cutter generic narrative ever. You would expect that from a live action Disney movie. The gameplay is very tedious, with Iron Man being the only sensible character to play, because the Hulk's combat deals as much damage as me at 2 years old. The characters were very poorly made, its combat was generic, and the enemy design was, wow, horrible. Like the same old enemies over and over again, and the game's missions are literally follow this guy or secure the checkpoint. It's laughable. Overall, Marvel's Avengers is literally a dumpster fire when it should have been a masterpiece. But the thing was made in 2020, so what were you expecting? In the years leading up to this game, Bethesda almost had a perfect track record. Todd Howard one of the biggest industry icons at the time, has been creating the greatest games of all time. Consistently, Skyrim, Fallout, those were games that shaped people's perception of games. Then something happened. Something horrible. Something so horrible that everybody just forgot about the old games and then looked at this in disbelief. Fallout 76. Contrary to belief, this game was really hyped. It has the most viewed trailer of the E3 of that year alone, and it looked like Todd was gonna have another banger. Then the words live service appeared in the game's code. Still, people were optimistic. Bethesda was really good at making games, so maybe even if it's live service, they could mold this into another masterpiece. But that didn't happen. The video game turned out to be the worst of its genre. First of all, Fallout 76 was all online. Usually, Fallout games are amazing single player experiences that immerse you into its storytelling, but since it's live service, it's an online game and tailored to be as such. The NPCs we used to talk to in the older games are gone, now made to tell you about the online experience, which is the most corporate thing I have ever heard. And also, the game doesn't really embrace its multiplayer factor in general. It's just a lot of people put onto a shared server, and there you go, that's your game. But what it should have done is make a co-op experience, make it fun with your friends. And that's what Fallout players have been asking for. But we get this, it's not really fun with your friends, and it doesn't really encourage that. On top of that, the game is flat out boring. The open world is very generic, a lot of locations, but there's nothing in them. Perks from the Fallout game usually include exploration as one of the best things about the game. But exploration is really dumbed down in the game, and if you're spending countless hours in this game, and it does not do any job to immerse you in this open world, it's gonna be bad, it's gonna be boring, and it's not gonna engage you into this world at all. And finally, the technical issues were insane back then. Textures failing to render, the performance was horrendous, glitchy frame rates, games crashing. The game looked like it was in test mode, even below a beta level of a game, and they still decided to release it. The amount of bugs, glitches, crashes, shortcuts made in this game was crazy. The quest not loading, can't even close the game, like what? This game has more bugs than Morbius made in theaters. Like, I swear to God. It was poorly optimized and was clearly not ready for release at all. The game was rushed, the game was money hungry, and speaking for that, monetization. The game is so monetized that you see EA's fingerprints all over this. It's a testament that the monetization is the worst. They even tried back then to monetize non-cosmetic items, which in fact translates to pay to win, which again translates to maximum profit. It's so aggressive in their monetization schemes that at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they even cared. Luckily, the game has been through some phases. It has slowly been updated over the years and has been fixed to an extent, and is right now a decent game. But to see Fallout fall like this because they released this game clearly unfinished was heartbreaking. The game wasn't a bad idea, and it certainly should have been good. It could be executed well, but it was just too caught up in its own mind for profit than enjoyment. Saints Row is a series that has always been a series so unique in the industry, usually known as the wackiest open world games, while having an amazing serious tone in the story. It's a perfect blend of holy mackerel, I just raided a city with a tank, and holy mackerel, what a story. But the series has gone downhill after countless obvious money grabs of games, and horrible games in general. The series decided to start anew in 2022, with a brand new game in the form of a reboot, in hopes of reviving the series many fans once loved, which did not happen. Not only did it not happen, it was an utterly disaster. Before the game, people were skeptical of the game from the trailers, but people saw it too, hoping this game would be good, but it was really bad, like really bad. First, the bugs are pretty bad. Bad optimization, very stuttery frame rate, sections not loading, and even a PS5 controller not working when playing the game. Besides that, the game just wasted its potential and literally rushed it. The story is not immersive. The characters look like they came from a little Disney Channel show, and the dialogue is extremely generic, and the characters are really not likable or have any personality at all. They seem like these AI creations from a website, and it was plopped into a game. Like, why does a guy always have to be topless with headphones on? Is that literally the best you could do? The gameplay is generic, not improving anything and taking already existing formulas and somehow making it worse. Shooting also feels horrible. I'd rather play Vanguard than play that abomination. And also, where's Gat? The face of the Saints Row series? It's not present anywhere. A reboot is supposed to start a franchise anew, adding mechanics one needed, and re-adding mechanics that made it great in the first place. Well, it removed a lot of those things in place for new ones, and the new ones aren't really that good. It really added cliche things that are in every Ubisoft AAA game, and the world feels very bland, like really bland, like recycled quest mechanics bland. And yes, there are recycled quest mechanics in here too, and wow, and the world is revolting. The bland atmosphere, like literally half of the gameplay I see is literally deserts, uninteresting to drive in. And the fun sections in this game, while there are some, feel very toned down and feel like something that was made to cater to a younger audience, while the Saints Row series doesn't necessarily impose that. Saints Row really should have been good, but it's really woefully generic, bland, repetitive, and rushed in a way that screams corporate everywhere. In conclusion, unfinished games suck. They really do. While some rebound and try to rejuvenate, and even some redeem themselves with new games, it's a lesson to developers that it's perfectly okay to delay a game. No one's gonna get mad, and the people who do get mad do not know a thing about game development and how it can take days to create 0.1% of a game. In short, it's really saddening to see that the gaming industry has come to this point in time, and unfinished rush games just keep being released. Well, that's the end of another mediocre video, so if you want me guys to cover more unfinished games, tell me down below, but I haven't even scratched the surface. So got new videos coming out for you guys, so that's the end of another mediocre video.